Brock Lesnar, how did you get paired with him initially?
Well, what happened was Brock came out of being the NCAA Division I heavyweight champion. And at the time, there was not a lot of money in MMA. It was still, we're talking, the year was 2000. So this was before the Fertittas and Dana White bought UFC. This is back in the days of Bob Meyerowitz and Campbell McLaren and David Isaacs and Semaphore Entertainment.
Good memory.
Owning UFC. So there wasn't a lot of money in that. He wasn't going to go into acting. And WWE pursued him, a former amateur wrestler who became a pro wrestling superstar named Jerry Briscoe was in charge of recruiting talent.
Sure.
And he had an in with Jay Robinson at the University of Minnesota. And they signed Brock Lesnar to the biggest developmental contract in the history of WWE. So they put Brock in their developmental league down in Louisville, Kentucky. And he was just racing away down there. You know, he learned what he had to learn within 6 months, and then he was just getting paid to be there and was getting more and more restless. So they started bringing Brock to Raws and SmackDowns. And he would wrestle in what was called a dark match, which is the matches that take place before the cameras are rolling for television. Just to give someone a chance for, the decision makers to see him wrestle and see him perform, and for that person to just come up and be part of the Raw and SmackDown experience and see how it works. And all the old-timers, and I know this happens in MMA as well, all the old-timers were giving him the absolute worst advice imaginable. You should be a Russian. Oh. You should just stand there. Don't move. Don't move. Now, the thing about Brock is, as you know, he's not just 285 to 305 pounds, depending on the day, and a man with just enormous strength. His speed is just mind-boggling.
Yeah, and agility.
Yes. He can run the 100-yard dash in Olympic qualifying time. He can run the quarter mile in Olympic qualifying time. He's a once-in-a-lifetime athlete. So everybody telling him to just stand still in the middle of the ring and just make faces and don't do anything and don't do takedowns and don't, are you kidding me? So Taz comes to me because in ECW, which is back in the 90s now, we're going back, we made Taz the first UFC-style pro wrestler. Taz actually brought the tap out to pro wrestling. He was the first guy getting it. Before that, it was always I quit. And with Taz, we were having guys tap out. So he was choking guys out, and they would tap. So Taz came to me knowing that I had an affinity for this style and said, you better get to this kid because you're going to ruin him. They're going to screw it up. So I pulled Brock aside, and we started talking, and we instantly just gelled. We just could feed off each other. And everything that I was suggesting to him, he would then take to a different degree. His intelligence is so underrated. He's not just a blockhead. He's not just a slab of meat. Yes, I can do this. He is a highly, highly intelligent human being. And everything I would suggest to him, he would then say, what if we do it this way? And how about if I come to it from that way? And if I do it this way and that way, what if we did this and we added to it? And it was just brilliant. So I went to Vince McMahon. And I said, hey, we're about to blow it with Brock Lesnar. And he says, well, I have a sizable investment in Brock Lesnar. I said, well, do you mind if I kind of look after him for his dark matches tonight and tomorrow? No, I'd appreciate that very much. And so I did. And we instantly gelled. Instantly. Just the chemistry between us behind the curtain. So we were heading into WrestleMania at the time. This is 2002. And I had been off television. I had just been behind the scenes writing. And the idea was for me to come back to WrestleMania and start managing somebody else. And Vince turned to me WrestleMania week and he says, we're going to put you back on TV next week. Okay, well, we knew that was coming. He says, but it's with Brock Lesnar. Well, I'm going to pair you guys up.
Awesome.
And I obviously figured you just handed me, the keys to the gold mine because he was just a can't miss. He's just a can't miss, and he was just, to me, he was 23 at the time. He was 23 years old at the time, and he's 6'3" and 295 pounds, and an NCAA Division I heavyweight champion, and just didn't want to talk. So it was just, to me, it was just the greatest professional gift anyone could ever give me.